Welcome. You are here to rest, to find peace, and perhaps to let your thoughts wander into worlds of imagination as you slowly drift into sleep. This space is designed for you, for your mind to feel calm, and for your body to release the tension of the day. As you close your eyes, you may feel the rhythm of your breathing slow down. The air moves in, gently, and then out, carrying away stress and leaving behind stillness. Let this moment be your safe corner of the night, where nothing is expected of you, except to listen, to imagine, and to rest. Tonight, we will explore a question that has fascinated philosophers, scientists, and dreamers alike. What if humans could use 100% of their brain power? You may have heard this idea before, often presented in movies or in popular culture, the myth that we only use 10% of our brains, leaving a vast ocean of untapped potential hidden away inside us. But tonight, rather than focusing on whether the myth is true or false, we will gently wander through the possibilities. We will allow ourselves to dream about what could happen if every cell, every connection, every spark of the human brain was fully alive and awake. Imagine, for a moment, your mind as a vast, star-filled universe. Right now, you are looking at a few constellations, a few glowing stars, but much of the sky is hidden behind the night. What if the entire sky lit up at once? What if every star was burning, shining, and alive? That is the vision we are stepping into tonight. It is not about speed, not about solving puzzles, not about becoming superhuman overnight. It is about allowing your mind to wander freely, without limits, while your body gently drifts deeper into rest. As you listen, remember, there is no rush. There are no wrong answers. There is only curiosity, the kind that asks gentle questions without needing firm conclusions. Every thought experiment is like a feather drifting across your mind. It touches lightly, softly, and then moves on, leaving only a trace of wonder behind. If you fall asleep during these reflections, that is perfectly fine. In fact, that is the goal. Let these words become like a lullaby of ideas, guiding you into a calm and restful dream. We will begin by exploring the history of this question: why humans became so fascinated with the idea of unused brain power. Then, we will drift through science, imagining what might be possible if we unlocked all of our mental capacity. We will wander into the realms of philosophy, of art, of society, and of the future. But through it all, remember, this is not a lecture, and this is not a race. This is a gentle journey, one designed to help you both learn and rest. So take a deep breath now. Feel the air filling your lungs. Hold it for a moment, and then let it go. Slowly, completely. With every breath, feel your body sinking deeper into comfort. The world outside can wait. The worries of the day can pause. Tonight, you are safe. Tonight, you are free to imagine. Tonight, you are simply here. Now, let us begin. Asterisk: for as long as humans have been able to wonder, we have asked questions about the mind. What is it? Where do thoughts come from? Why do we dream? And how do we remember? The brain, hidden safely inside the skull, has always been a mystery, and in ancient times, people could only imagine its purpose. Tonight, as you drift into rest, we will wander slowly through the history of how humans have understood and misunderstood the brain. In ancient Egypt, thousands of years ago, the brain was not considered important at all. When a person died, priests preparing the body for mummification would carefully preserve the heart, the lungs, and the liver. These organs were placed into sacred jars, believed to be essential for the afterlife. The brain, however, was thought of as useless. It was removed with hooks and discarded. To the Egyptians, the heart was the true center of thought, emotion, and the soul. They believed that wisdom and memory lived within the beating heart, not within the folds of the brain. The Greeks began to see things differently. The philosopher Hippocrates, often called the father of medicine, wrote that the brain was the seat of sensation and intelligence. He observed how injuries to the head could affect speech, movement, and behavior. This led him to believe that the brain must be central to who we are. Yet even among the Greeks, not everyone agreed. Aristotle, one of the greatest thinkers of his time, believed that the heart was the true source of thought, while the brain was merely a cooling system to regulate the heat of the body. For centuries, this debate continued. The Romans studied anatomy, sometimes through dissections, but knowledge remained limited. In the Middle Ages, religious traditions often overshadowed science, and the brain was once again cloaked in mystery. Some believed that different parts of the skull housed different faculties of the soul: imagination, memory, and judgment. These ideas were based less on evidence and more on speculation, yet they shaped how people thought about the mind for generations. As time passed, myths about the brain grew alongside discoveries. During the 19th century, a practice called phrenology became popular. Phrenologists believed that a person's character, intelligence, and even morality could be read by feeling the bumps and shapes of their skull. According to this idea, different areas of the brain controlled different traits, and the skull's shape revealed the strength of those traits. While we now know this to be untrue, it reflected humanity's deep desire to map and understand the mysterious organ that defined our very selves. Then came the 20th century, an era of rapid scientific progress. It was during this time that the famous 10% myth took hold. Many people came to believe that humans only use a small fraction of their brain power, often said to be just 10%, while the rest lies dormant, waiting to be unlocked. This myth was fueled by misunderstandings of neurological research, misquotations of scientists, and the appeal of imagining untapped potential. The idea spread widely, appearing in books, self-help seminars, and eventually in movies and television. The truth, however, is more fascinating. Modern neuroscience shows us that we use nearly all parts of our brain, though not all at the same time. Different regions activate for different tasks, and the brain is constantly working, even when we are resting or asleep. Rather than being mostly dormant, the brain is endlessly busy, processing information, regulating the body, storing memories, and shaping our experience of reality. Yet the myth persists, perhaps because it speaks to something deep inside us, the belief that we are capable of more. It is a story of hidden potential, of secret abilities waiting to be discovered. It whispers to us that greatness lies within, if only we could find the key. And while the science may not support the literal idea of unused brain power, the metaphor remains powerful. It reminds us that the mind is vast and that our understanding of it is still unfolding. As you listen, imagine yourself as part of this long history of curiosity. Picture the ancient Egyptian priests carefully preparing a body for eternity, believing the heart carried the soul. Picture Aristotle gazing at the stars and pondering the mysteries of the body, convinced that the heart held the essence of thought. Picture the phrenologists of the 1800s, gently tracing the shape of a skull, convinced they were mapping the landscape of the mind. And picture the modern scientist watching glowing scans of the brain, marveling at the intricate web of activity. Within, through every era, the brain has been a symbol of mystery. It is an organ we carry inside ourselves, and yet, in many ways, it remains unknown. Even today, we are only beginning to grasp its complexity. Billions of neurons, trillions of connections, constant electrical signals flashing like stars across a night sky. When you close your eyes and drift to sleep, your brain continues to work, weaving dreams, consolidating memories, and keeping your body in balance. So perhaps the old myths are not entirely wrong. Perhaps it is true that we have only begun to scratch the surface of what the human mind can do, not because 90% of the brain is unused, but because the mind is deeper, more mysterious, and more powerful than we can fully measure. As you rest now, let this thought bring you comfort. You are part of a story that stretches back thousands of years. Humanity has always been curious about the mind, always searching for understanding. And tonight, as you let yourself drift deeper into relaxation, you continue that story, exploring not with scalpels or with philosophy, but with imagination. The myths may not be real, but they remind us of the mystery. They remind us that the brain is more than just an organ. It is the seat of our identity, our dreams, our fears, and our hopes. And perhaps, just perhaps, it holds secrets we have yet to uncover. To truly imagine what it would mean to use 100% of our brain, let us slow down and look more closely at some of its extraordinary abilities. Think for a moment about memory. For most people, memory is imperfect. We forget names, lose track of where we put our keys, or misremember details from our childhood. Yet the brain is capable of astonishing feats of memory under certain conditions. Some individuals, known as people with highly superior autobiographical memory, can recall every day of their lives in vivid detail as if replaying a film. They can tell you what they ate for lunch on a random day 10 years ago, or what the weather was like on a birthday from decades past. Now imagine if everyone had this level of recall. A 100% brain might give us memory so reliable that nothing is ever lost. Learning a new language could take weeks instead of years. Students could absorb books with ease. Professionals could retain every piece of training. And artists could remember every detail of a landscape they once saw. But such a gift might also be a burden. To remember everything means to remember pain as clearly as joy, to hold on to every mistake, every sorrow, every regret. The human brain, as it is now, forgets for a reason. Forgetting can be healing. A brain at full memory capacity might not allow us that relief. Another ability tied to brain power is imagination. The capacity to picture things that do not exist is uniquely human. When you close your eyes and imagine a beach you have never visited, or a city that does not yet exist, you are activating networks in the brain that weave together fragments of knowledge into something new. Imagination fuels creativity, and creativity fuels progress. The wheel, the printing press, the computer, all of them began as ideas in someone's mind. Before becoming real objects in the world, if humans could use the brain at full potential, imagination might expand beyond our current limits. We might dream up technologies centuries ahead of our time, solutions to problems that seem impossible today, or even entirely new forms of art and expression. Yet here too lies a paradox. The human mind, at its current pace, creates as much as society can reasonably handle. Would limitless imagination overwhelm us? Would we drown in possibilities, unable to decide which vision to bring to life? Then there is the question of empathy. At the heart of human connection is our ability to feel what others feel, to mirror their joy and share their sorrow. Neuroscience has discovered mirror neurons, brain cells that activate both when we perform an action and when we watch someone else perform it. They are thought to play a role in empathy, allowing us to experience echoes of another's experience. Now, imagine if empathy were amplified by a factor of 10 or 100. A fully activated brain might allow us to sense another person's emotions as clearly as our own. It could create a society of deep compassion, where violence and cruelty become nearly impossible because the suffering of others would be felt too strongly. But empathy without limits could also be unbearable. To feel not only your own pain, but the pain of everyone around you could make life overwhelming. It could paralyze us, leaving us unable to act. Once again, the balance of the brain seems wise. It gives us enough empathy to care, but not so much that we collapse under the weight of the world's emotions. The 100% brain also raises questions about focus and attention. In today's world, distraction is everywhere. Phones buzz, screens flash, and our thoughts scatter. But the brain has incredible capacity for focus when trained. Think of monks who meditate for hours, or athletes who describe being in the zone, fully absorbed in the present moment. What if everyone could summon that state of pure concentration at will? Productivity would soar. Music, science, and literature might advance at lightning speed. But again, total focus might mean losing the ability to drift, to wander, to daydream. And daydreaming itself is valuable. Studies show it sparks creativity and problem-solving. Finally, let us reflect on dreams. Even when you are asleep, your brain is not idle. Dreams are a playground for imagination, memory, and emotion. Theory suggests dreams are a way for the brain to process experiences, to rehearse for challenges, or to explore possibilities without consequence. If the brain's potential were fully unlocked, perhaps dreams would become clearer, more controlled, or even shared between people. We might one day record our dreams, or enter them consciously as if they were alternate realities. The more we imagine the 100% brain, the more we see that the question is not about unused parts, but about untapped potential. Our current brains already achieve miracles. They create art, discover science, build civilizations, and tell stories. They connect us with others, allow us to love, and let us wonder. To use more of the brain might mean not switching on new regions, but finding new ways to harmonize the ones we already have. So, as you listen, allow your mind to rest in this thought. Your brain, even as it is now, is extraordinary. It is not waiting for a hidden power to awaken. It is already awake, already alive, already performing at a level no computer can truly match. And perhaps the real mystery is not how much of it we use, but how beautifully it uses itself. As we continue to explore the true capacity of the human brain, it is important to consider the subtle and often overlooked powers it already possesses. One of the most fascinating aspects is the brain's ability to adapt to change. Neuroplasticity, as we discussed earlier, allows the brain to rewire itself when faced with new challenges. If a person loses the ability to see, the regions of the brain responsible for vision can be repurposed to enhance other senses, such as hearing or touch. Similarly, after a stroke or injury, the brain can often regain functions by reorganizing pathways. This adaptability is not only a survival mechanism, it is also a reminder that the mind is incredibly flexible, capable of growth and transformation throughout life. Another remarkable ability is the brain's capacity for learning. From infancy, we are absorbing information constantly: language, social cues, motor skills, and problem-solving strategies. Every experience, every conversation, every sensation contributes to the intricate network of synapses within us. Imagine if this process could be accelerated. What if we could learn new skills in days rather than years, instantly understand complex systems, or speak multiple languages fluently without effort? The potential exists not in dormant neurons, but in enhancing the connections we already have, in training attention, memory, and creativity to their maximum. Equally intriguing is the role of intuition and subconscious processing. The brain processes millions of pieces of information every second, far beyond our conscious awareness. While we focus on one task, countless decisions and predictions are made behind the scenes. This hidden processing allows us to sense danger, make rapid judgments, and sometimes even solve problems without fully understanding how. A 100% brain scenario might amplify this ability, giving us an almost instinctive mastery over challenges, from scientific breakthroughs to artistic insight. Then there's the concept of collective intelligence. Imagine if every human could not only maximize their own cognitive abilities, but also connect with others in a seamless mental network. Knowledge, ideas, and solutions could be shared instantaneously. History might advance at an unprecedented rate as collaboration reaches new heights. The ethical and emotional implications of such a network are vast, but the possibilities spark wonder. Could humanity, working as one conscious organism, solve the deepest mysteries of existence? Finally, we must reflect on the balance that makes the brain so remarkable. It is not just a computational device. It is a seat of consciousness, of emotion, of imagination. True capacity is not measured in power alone, but in harmony. Memory without forgetting, focus without rest, or empathy without boundaries could overwhelm rather than liberate. Perhaps the secret of using the brain fully lies not in forcing it to work harder, but in understanding, respecting, and nurturing the extraordinary system we already possess. As you lie here now, let your mind wander through these reflections. Picture the neurons firing softly like a galaxy of stars. Feel the gentle rhythm of your breathing, syncing with the quiet symphony of your thoughts. Know that even as you drift into sleep, your brain continues to process, create, and dream. Its capacity is vast, almost unimaginable. And yet it is already operating at an extraordinary level. So, tonight, as you let yourself relax, appreciate the incredible organ you carry within your skull. Not because you are not using it fully, but because it is already doing wonders every moment of your life. Let your thoughts float gently, as if riding on currents of air, exploring the mysteries of the mind without urgency. Let sleep come naturally, knowing that your brain, in all its intricate, harmonious complexity, is already awake, alive, and endlessly powerful. Memory is one of the most delicate and fascinating abilities of the human brain. From the moment we are born, our minds begin to store experiences, sights, sounds, textures, emotions, and sensations, creating an intricate map of everything we encounter. As you lie here tonight, preparing to drift into rest, allow yourself to reflect gently on the memories you carry. Imagine each memory as a thread of shimmering light, weaving through the landscape of your mind, connecting past to present and softly illuminating the paths of your imagination. Our memories are not like photographs or videos. They are living, evolving constructions. Each time we recall an event, we do not merely retrieve it, we reconstruct it. This reconstruction blends fragments of sensory experience, emotional impressions, and knowledge gained over time. Of this, memories often shift subtly. Details may change, colors may brighten or fade, and emotions may transform. This fluidity is not a flaw, but a sophisticated feature of our minds, allowing us to integrate new experiences, understand ourselves more deeply, and adapt to changing circumstances. Memory and imagination are closely intertwined, forming a continuous feedback loop. When you remember an experience, you are also imagining it, filling in details and textures, sometimes even creating new elements that did not exist before. When you imagine something entirely new, a city of the future, a mountain that only Taodmailu exists in your mind, or a story that has never been told, the same neural pathways light up as when you recall something from your past. In this sense, your imagination is built upon the foundation of memory, using the building blocks of what you know to explore possibilities that may never have existed. Imagine, as you breathe slowly, the subtle landscapes of your memory. Picture the rooms you have walked through in your life, the faces of people you have met, the gentle flow of a river you once saw. Notice the textures of these memories, the sounds and smells that accompany them. Your mind effortlessly blends them into a tapestry that is uniquely yours. Now, allow this tapestry to expand as your imagination reaches beyond what is known. You can explore worlds that exist only in thought, towering forests with leaves that shimmer like silver, cities with streets that twist and curve in impossible ways, oceans glowing with ethereal light. There is no rush here. The mind moves at its own pace, guided by curiosity, gently exploring without force or urgency. The interplay between memory and imagination also underlies creativity, one of the most extraordinary aspects of human cognition. Consider the works of artists, writers, and musicians throughout history. A painter may blend memories of sunsets, forests, and faces to create a scene that has never been seen. A composer may transform the rhythms of city life, the sounds of nature, and echoes of remembered songs into a symphony that evokes new emotions. In each case, creativity arises from the mind's ability to combine memories in novel ways. Even now, as you relax and allow your thoughts to wander, your mind is capable of similar explorations, gentle, playful, and infinite in possibility. Sleep itself enhances this creative process. During sleep, particularly during dreaming phases, the brain organizes, reshapes, and connects memories in unusual ways. This nocturnal processing allows ideas to emerge that may seem surprising upon waking. The neurons work quietly, linking concepts, imagining scenarios, and forming insights that often feel like gifts of the subconscious. As you drift toward sleep, you may notice your thoughts flowing freely, weaving connections between moments, ideas, and images. This is the magic of memory and imagination at work, and it is always present. Whether we are awake or dreaming, your imagination also allows for problem-solving beyond the immediate. When faced with a challenge, the brain can simulate countless scenarios, drawing on memory and creativity to anticipate outcomes, test solutions, and visualize potential results. Even in moments of quiet reflection, your mind experiments in this gentle, safe space, offering ideas and insights that may guide you tomorrow. The brain's capacity for this kind of internal exploration is profound, and it happens best when you are relaxed, calm, and open to gentle wandering thoughts. As you continue to breathe slowly, picture the neurons in your brain. Each thought, memory, and imaginative idea is a spark, glowing softly like tiny stars in a vast night sky. Connections form and reform, weaving complex patterns of light, shaping who you are and what you will become. The brain's ability to remember and to imagine is inseparable. Each strengthens the other. Memory provides a framework, and imagination fills in the details, exploring infinite possibilities and creating experiences that extend beyond the limits of reality. Now, allow your mind to explore freely. Picture yourself walking through an imaginary garden formed from your own memories. Perhaps a tree from your childhood yard grows beside a fountain from a place you once visited. Birds sing songs you recognize, mixed with melodies entirely new. Let your mind wander through this garden, touching each memory lightly, noticing colors, textures, and sounds. There is no hurry. Each step brings calm. Each breath deepens relaxation, and each thought floats softly, dissolving gently into the peaceful rhythm of your imagination. As you sink deeper into relaxation, let us continue wandering through the fascinating landscape of memory. Memory is not simply a storage box of the past. 'Tis a living network, active and adaptive, shaping every thought, every choice, and every dream. At this very moment, your mind is using memory to make sense of these words, linking them to past experiences of language, rhythm, and sound. And as these words flow gently through your awareness, they become part of your memory too, woven quietly into the story of who you are. Think of memory as a library, yet not a traditional one with books and shelves. Instead, it is a library where the walls shift, the books rearrange themselves, and every story can be rewritten. When you revisit a memory, you are like a reader who opens a book and changes the ending. This may sound strange, but it is part of what makes memory so powerful. Every recollection is also an act of imagination. Each time you bring up a memory, you edit it slightly, influenced by your present emotions, your current perspective, and the new knowledge you have gathered since that moment first occurred. Now, imagine standing inside this library of memory. The halls stretch endlessly, lined with glowing orbs instead of books. Each orb is a memory, some bright and vivid, others faint and quiet. You reach out and touch one, and it opens before you. Perhaps it is the sound of laughter with a friend, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the smell of fresh rain after a storm. As you linger in this memory, you notice details you may have forgotten. The way the air felt that day, the colors that surrounded you, the emotions that moved gently through your body. And then, as you step back, the memory shifts and reshapes, blending with imagination, becoming something both real and dreamlike. This blending is the foundation of daydreaming. When your mind drifts, it often begins with a memory, a place you know, a person you have met, a sound you have heard. But soon imagination takes over, adding new details, exploring new possibilities. The familiar blends with the unfamiliar, and suddenly you are in a place that is both real and unreal. Daydreaming is not wasted time. It is the mind's way of exploring, rehearsing, and creating. It is a rehearsal for future possibilities, a playground where memory and imagination dance together. Consider how children use imagination. A child can pick up a stick and instantly turn it into a sword, a wand, or a telescope. This act of transformation is built upon memory. The child has seen stories, heard tales, and experienced objects. But imagination lifts these fragments into something new. Adults do this as well, though sometimes more quietly. You may imagine how a conversation will unfold, how a project might develop, or how tomorrow's events could take shape. All of these mental simulations rely on memory but extend beyond it. Into the boundless field of imagination, science has revealed something remarkable. The same areas of the brain that light up when recalling the past also activate when imagining the future. In other words, when you think about what has happened and when you dream of what could happen, your brain is using the same tools. This is why imagination feels so real. It borrows the fabric of memory, weaving it into potential futures, alternate realities, and endless stories. As you breathe calmly and evenly, allow yourself to feel this truth. Your mind is not limited to the present moment. It stretches backward into memory and forward into imagination, creating a bridge across time. And yet, memory is not always accurate. Sometimes we misremember, filling in gaps with details that were never there. You might be certain you saw a friend wearing a blue coat, only to later discover it was red. These small errors are not failures, but reminders of how memory and imagination are inseparable. The mind does not distinguish sharply between what was real and what is imagined. It takes the fragments available and builds a coherent story. This is why two people can remember the same event differently, each convinced their version is true. Their memories are colored by imagination, shaped by perspective, and softened by time. Now, let us wander deeper into the imaginative landscape. Imagine walking through a vast, endless field beneath a twilight sky. Each star above you represents a memory, and as you gaze upward, constellations begin to form. Some are constellations you recognize: childhood, family, friendship, learning. Others are entirely new, created by your imagination, connecting memories in ways they have never been connected before. Perhaps a memory of laughter with a loved one connects with the sound of waves from a distant vacation, forming a constellation of joy. Perhaps a moment of challenge links with a future dream, forming a constellation of resilience. This ability to weave meaning from memory and imagination is uniquely human. It allows us to create stories, not just about the past, but about who we are and who we wish to become. Every person is, in a sense, a storyteller, constantly shaping their identity through the narrative of memory. When you recall the past, you are not just reliving events, you are shaping your own personal myth, deciding which moments matter most, which lessons remain, and which dreams will guide you forward. As you continue to relax, notice how your mind gently drifts between memory and imagination. One moment you may recall a familiar place, and the next you may find yourself imagining it transformed. A house may become a castle. A path may lead to a hidden garden. A memory of a conversation may turn into an entirely new dialogue that never occurred. This fluid shifting is natural, effortless, and calming. It is the rhythm of the mind at rest, playing softly at the edge of sleep. As you continue to settle into a state of deep calm, let us complete our journey through the vast terrain of memory and imagination. These two forces, one rooted in the past, the other reaching toward possibility, are not opposites, but companions. They weave together constantly, shaping the fabric of your inner life. And as you listen, as your breathing slows, notice how naturally your own memories may arise, blending gently with daydreams until the line between them becomes soft, almost invisible. Imagine now that memory is not a library, nor even a field of glowing orbs, but a river. This river carries with it countless drops of experience, flowing gently, unhurried, toward the sea of your present awareness. Each drop is a moment, a word spoken, a smile shared, a thought you once held. Some drops are bright, catching the light as they pass. Others are faint, nearly hidden in the current. Together they form a steady stream, always moving, always reshaping. When you recall a memory, you reach into the river and lift a single drop into the air. Oh yes. It sparkles briefly, and then, when you let it go, it falls back into the stream, changed. It is no longer exactly what it was before. The act of remembering leaves an imprint, a ripple, altering the flow of the river itself. In this way, memory is alive. It is not a fixed archive, but a constantly moving current, shaped by the hand of imagination. Consider how imagination works upon this river. Sometimes, imagination paints colors across the water, transforming the drops into visions that never existed. You may remember walking down a familiar street, but in your imagination, that street can lead anywhere. It can lead into a forest, into a dream, or even into another world entirely. The ordinary blends with the extraordinary, and the river of memory becomes a river of possibility. This blending explains why dreams feel so vivid. In dreams, memory and imagination dissolve into one another. You may dream of a childhood home, but the rooms are rearranged. You may see a loved one, but their face is different, their voice unfamiliar. Dreams borrow fragments of memory, recombine them, and weave them into entirely new stories. In this way, the dreaming mind mirrors the waking imagination, both fueled by the same river of memory. Now picture yourself walking along this riverbank. The air is calm, the ground soft beneath your feet. You hear the gentle sound of water flowing, steady and unbroken. From time to time, you stop and dip your hand into the current, lifting a droplet of memory into the evening light. Each one is unique, carrying a feeling, a texture, a moment. Some bring comfort, others curiosity, and all of them remind you of the richness of your inner world. The river continues onward, endless, and with it, your imagination stretches outward as well. You begin to notice that the water is not limited to what has already happened. It carries seeds of possibility, glimpses of what could be. These seeds drift along with the memories, waiting to bloom into imagined futures. And when you close your eyes, you can see them clearly. Lives not lived, paths not taken, adventures that exist only in thought. Memory allows you to look back. Imagination allows you to look forward. Together, they form the full horizon of consciousness. Without memory, the future would be empty. Without imagination, the past would be silent. But with both, you are able to carry meaning across time, shaping your identity as a living story. Pause for a moment and think of a memory that brings you peace. Perhaps it is the sound of ocean waves, the warmth of sunlight on your face, or the laughter of someone you love. Hold it gently in your awareness. Notice the details, the colors, the textures, the emotions. And now, allow imagination to enter. Add something new. Perhaps the ocean becomes larger, the waves more gentle, the laughter more musical. The memory transforms into a dreamlike vision, one that soothes and comforts you. This is the gift of your mind. The ability to take what has been and shape it into what brings you peace. As you drift deeper into this reflection, notice how memory can also heal. Painful moments, too, pass through the river, but imagination offers the power to reshape them. You may recall a moment of difficulty, but through imagination, you can view it with new eyes as a lesson, a step toward growth, a reminder of your resilience. In this way, memory is not a weight, but a source of wisdom. Each drop of water in the river, no matter how turbulent, eventually finds its way to the calm sea. Let us now think of creativity, the child of memory and imagination. Every poem, every song, every work of art arises from this union. An artist remembers a feeling, a place, a sound, and imagination expands it into something new. A scientist recalls a question and imagines a possible answer. A musician remembers a melody and imagines where it could go next. Without memory, there would be no foundation. Without imagination, there would be no wings. Together, they lift human thought beyond survival into beauty, discovery, and meaning. You too are an artist of your inner world. Each night, as you fall asleep, you create. Your dreams are works of art, woven from memory and imagination, stitched together into stories that belong only to you. Some may be fleeting, forgotten upon waking. Others may linger like quiet whispers from your subconscious. But all of them remind you of the creativity flowing constantly within you. Now, as your body grows heavier with relaxation, imagine one final vision. Picture yourself lying beside the river of memory, the gentle flow continuing endlessly. The stars above shimmer softly, and the air carries the quiet fragrance of night. Each breath you take is like dipping your hand into the water, feeling the cool current against your skin. With every exhale, you let go, releasing the droplets back into the river, trusting that they will find their place. You feel a deep sense of safety here. The river will always carry your memories, and imagination will always be ready to lift them into new forms. There is nothing you must do. The river flows without effort, and you are free to rest, knowing that your inner world is infinite, gentle, and alive. And as you drift further toward sleep, remember this: memory and imagination are not separate forces. They are one continuous stream, guiding you through the past, into the future, and gently into dreams. There is a quiet biology to empathy, a soft choreography unfolding beneath awareness. When you meet another person's gaze and your breathing slows, tiny cascades begin subtle changes in the body that make connection feel safe. The heart finds a gentler rhythm, muscles soften, the nervous system loosens its grip. You do not have to name any of this. You only feel the ease, the sense that you are not carrying life alone. Imagine that now as you rest. With each slow inhale, you welcome the presence of others, past, present. Imagine whose kindness has touched you. With each exhale, you release a fraction of the weight you no longer need to bear. Empathy often begins with listening, and listening begins with space. To truly hear is to offer silence wide enough for another person's world to unfold. In that silence, assumptions dissolve. You do not prepare a clever reply. You do not fix or judge. You simply witness. And in being witnessed, a person relaxes into their own truth. Think of a time when someone listened to you without interruption, how your words found their shape, how your breath steadied, how you felt your life make sense again. As you drift toward sleep, you can offer that same listening to yourself. Let your thoughts speak softly, without hurry. Let them arrive and pass, like waves touching and retreating from a quiet shore. Connection is not a constant merging. It is a dance between closeness and space. Healthy bonds have boundaries that protect tenderness. To say yes with your whole heart, you must also know when it is kind to say no. This balance is not coldness, it is care. It keeps the well from running dry so that your warmth remains gentle and true. As you lie here, imagine your boundaries as a soft lantern glow around you, warm, permeable, and clear. Those who love you can see your light. You can see theirs. Between you there is respect, and within you there is ease. There are rituals that help us remember we belong. Sharing a meal, lighting a candle, holding hands for a moment in silence. These gestures speak a language older than words. Even when you are alone, ritual can cradle you, making tea slowly, straightening the blankets, whispering a simple blessing before sleep. Each small act tells the nervous system, you are safe now. Let tonight be a gentle ritual. Notice the fabric against your skin. Notice the temperature of the air. Notice the rise and fall of breath. Each awareness is a stitch, and before long, a blanket of calm settles over you. In the modern world, connection often travels through glowing screens. Technology can blur distances, letting voices cross oceans and faces appear in the palm of a hand. It can also tire the mind with too many signals, too much speed. A simple practice helps. Choose depth over volume. One message written with care is worth a stream of hurried replies. One call with full attention nourishes more than a dozen distracted exchanges. As you rest, imagine your relationships as a garden. Not every plant must bloom at once. Some need bright sun and laughter. Some ask for shade and patience. You tend a few tonight, quietly, with presence. Tomorrow, they will remember. Solitude, when chosen, is a cousin of connection. In solitude, you listen for the faint music under the noise, the subtle sense of life that joins you to everything. Loneliness says, I am apart. Solitude says, I am apart. To shift from one to the other, you do not need a crowd. You need a thread. Recall a voice that once comforted you. Recall a place where you felt held by the world under trees, beside water, near a window at dawn. Let that thread guide you. Now, the room has not changed, yet the feeling does. You are accompanied by memory, by meaning, by the simple fact that you breathe the same air as countless others. Tonight and every night, compassion is empathy put into motion. Sometimes it is practical, a meal delivered, a task shared, a door quietly opened. Sometimes it is invisible, a prayer no one hears, a pause to soften your tone, a decision to forgive. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is loosening the knot that keeps pain tied to your ribs. You may not be ready to forgive everything, and that is all right. Begin where the body says yes. Perhaps you forgive yourself for the small things on impatience, a missed moment, a promise delayed. You exhale, and a little more space appears inside your chest. There is a tenderness to grief that teaches connection in its clearest form. When loss comes, it shows us how deeply we loved. Community can hold grief the way cupped hands hold water, carefully, steadily, without trying to grasp. If you carry grief tonight, imagine a circle of chairs around you. People you trust, some living, some remember Dar seated there, patient and kind. No one rushes you, no one turns away. Your sadness is not too much. It belongs, in full, inside this circle. You breathe. The ache remains, but it is cradled, and so it can rest. Gratitude is the lamp that reveals connection already present. Not gratitude as performance, but as noticing. The sip of cool water. The softness of a pillow. The text that arrived when you needed it. the way morning always comes. If it helps, name 3 small mercies in your mind right now. They do not need to be grand. Small things anchor the heart more reliably than sweeping promises. With each mercy named, your body receives the message. There is goodness here. You are allowed to relax. Connection also lives in shared rhythms. When groups breathe together, sing together, walk side by side, their steps and hearts begin to synchronize. You can feel that rhythm even alone. Place a hand on your chest and count a slow, steady 4 on the inhale. Pause gently. Then exhale to a soft count of 6. Again, inhale for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. Exhale for 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This simple pattern tells the body a story. We are safe enough to lengthen the out-breath. Safety and connection grow in the same soil. Vulnerability is the doorway through which real closeness enters. To say, "I don't know," "I'm scared," or "I need help" is a brave generosity. You offer others a chance to show their love. Picture a bridge spanning a quiet lake. On your side, you stand with the truth in your hands. On the other, someone you trust waits with open palms. You take one step, then another. The wood of the bridge is solid. The air is soft. Midway, you realize you are not crossing alone. Courage walks beside you. It always has. There is also a wisdom to pacing connection. Not every conversation must reach its deepest depth. Some nights, presence is enough. Sitting together without solving, sharing a meal without advice. Watching the sky change colors without a single important word. Presence says, "I'm here," and for weary hearts, that is a complete sentence. Offer that sentence to yourself now. Place it gently in your mind like a warm stone. I'm here. Feel how the body eases when it is not asked to be anywhere else. Imagine. Now a place where connection gathers a hill at dusk, where people arrive carrying small lights. They come from different paths, some quick, some meandering, some slow with careful steps. One by one, they reach the top and place their lamps on. The earth, you add yours to the circle. A soft glow rises, collective and calm. Arguments quiet in this light. Old injuries rest. No one is perfect here. No one tries to be. You simply share warmth, a steady halo that makes faces gentle. The wind moves through grass. Somewhere, a bell sounds once, then fades. You close your eyes. You are held. Even the way you speak to yourself is a connection. The inner voice can be a harsh critic or a kind companion. Tonight, let it be kind. If a worried thought arrives about tomorrow's work, about a decision waiting, thank it for trying to help. Then invite it to sit by the door and rest. You might whisper inwardly, "We can carry this in the morning light." The thought settles. You return to breath, to blankets, to the comfortable weight of your body sinking into the bed before sleep. It can be soothing to offer a quiet blessing outward. Choose a few people, someone you love, someone you find difficult, someone you barely know. Send each the same simple wish. May you be safe. May you be peaceful. May you rest tonight. You do not need to believe in anything mystical for this to work. The act itself softens the edges of the heart. Your chest feels roomier. Your jaw unclenches. The day loosens its hold. Now, let us close with a gentle visualization. You are in a small boat on a moonlit lake. The boat rocks lightly. Water whispers along its sides. On the distant shore, warm windows glow homes where others are settling, breathing, sleeping. You dip your fingers into the water and watch circles widen from the touch. Each circle is a connection. Family, friends, mentors. Strangers whose names you will never learn, but whose lives brush yours in tiny ways. The circles grow and overlap, and the lake becomes a net of light. You lean back. The sky is vast, a deep velvet scattered with stars. You are a thread in this vastness, strong and woven well. Your breath slows. Inhale, and feel the cool night air fill your lungs. Exhale, and feel your body yield a little more to the mattress. Inhale, welcoming what is gentle. Exhale, releasing what is heavy. If sleep arrives mid-breath, let it. The web of connection holds even as you dream. It holds especially as you dream. And if you wake in the night, remember, connection is as close as your next breath. Place a hand over your heart and the other over your belly. Feel the rise, feel the fall. Whisper, if you like, I belong. The words do not need to be loud. The body hears them all the same and grows quiet under their care. You are part of the lantern field. You are part of the hill at dusk. You are part of the lake of widening circles. You are part of us. Rest now. Close your eyes for a moment and notice the quiet theater unfolding within. Behind the stillness of your body, there is a vast inner cosmos, billions of neurons sparking like distant stars, weaving together thoughts, memories, sensations, and dreams. You do not command this orchestra, and yet it plays. Even now, as you lie in bed, the universe within you hums, alive with silent activity. The breath you take is more than oxygen. It is an invitation to listen to that inner cosmos, to wonder at the miracle of being aware at all. Consciousness is perhaps the greatest mystery humanity has ever faced. Science can measure brainwaves, map neural connections, and even predict certain decisions milliseconds before you are aware of them. Yet the simple fact of experience, the feeling of being you, remains unexplainable. Philosophers call this the hard problem of consciousness. Why is there something it feels like to be alive? Why does the firing of neurons give rise to the taste of chocolate, the sound of rain, or the comfort of a loved one's touch? As you sink deeper into relaxation, imagine your mind as a boundless night sky. Each thought is a star flickering for a moment before fading. Some thoughts burn brightly, demanding attention. Others are dim, almost forgotten. But the sky itself, the awareness that holds them, is endless. Inside you, entire worlds are born and dissolve every night through dreams. Think of the last dream you remember. Perhaps it was vivid, full of people and places. Perhaps it was only a fragment, a single image. In that dream, your mind built landscapes, voices, and emotions without effort. A city might rise from nothing. A loved one might appear and speak. And yet, when you woke, all of it vanished into silence. Tonight, you prepare to step again into that dream world, carrying with you a calm curiosity. Where will your inner universe take you? Which landscapes will unfold? Well, you do not need to control it. You only need to trust the vast intelligence that spins galaxies both outside and within. Awareness is not limited to thought. Beneath the chatter of the mind lies a still pool place of simple being. If you rest your attention on the breath, gently and without force, you can sense that stillness. The inhale rises like a tide. The exhale falls like a wave retreating. With each cycle, the mind grows quieter, and you begin to notice the subtle wonder of existence itself. The fabric of your sheets against your skin, the rhythm of your heartbeat. The way time seems to soften as you surrender to rest. All of this is consciousness savoring itself. There is no need to strive, no need to analyze. You are already inside. The miracle. Some traditions speak of consciousness as a flame. Others call it a mirror. Some describe it as the sky in which all weather appears. Each metaphor points to the same mystery. Awareness is both fragile and unbreakable, both fleeting and eternal. Tonight, let it be a lantern in your chest, glowing warmly. With every breath, the lantern shines a little brighter, illuminating not just the body, but the space around you. You feel spacious, light, and safe. The lantern does not judge what it reveals. it simply shines. So too can you allow every thought, every feeling, to arise and pass without resistance. Consider how extraordinary it is to be alive at all. For billions of years, matter and energy moved through the cosmos without awareness. Then, on this small planet, life began to stir. Cells learned to sense, to move, to combine. Over vast epochs, awareness grew, until eventually it opened its eyes and asked, "Who am I? Why am I here?" You are part of that lineage of wonder. When you feel the softness of your pillow or hear the faint hum of night, you are participating in the universe's oldest experiment, the journey from matter to mind, from silence to song. As you drift towards sleep, remember that your consciousness does not end when you close your eyes. It only changes form. It flows into dreams, into deep rest, into healing rhythms that restore the body and mind. Tonight, you are both an explorer and a passenger. The universe within will carry you gently, showing you landscapes of thought and imagination, then guiding you deeper into the nourishing darkness where the self dissolves into silence. Trust this journey. Trust the intelligence of your inner cosmos. You do not need to solve the mystery of consciousness to experience its beauty. All you need is this breath, and the next, and the next, until sleep arrives like a tide returning home. Time is the invisible current in which every life is carried. From the moment we are born until our final breath, we are immersed in its flow. We cannot see it. We cannot hold it in our hands, yet it shapes every experience we have. Tonight, as you lie down to rest, think of time not as a clock on the wall or the ticking of seconds, but as a gentle river. Imagine yourself floating on its surface. The water carries you forward without effort. You do not need to swim. You do not need to resist. The river knows its way, and your only task is to trust its movement. When we reflect on time, we often feel it as pressure. We sense deadlines, endings, and the unstoppable passing of days. But from another perspective, time is the gift that allows everything to exist. Without time, there would be no change, no growth, no memory, no story to tell. The sun would never rise, and flowers would never bloom. Time gives us seasons, cycles, and the opportunity to witness beauty as it unfolds moment by moment. Impermanence is the partner of time. Everything you see, everything you touch, everything you love is in constant transformation. At first, this idea might sound unsettling. How can we find comfort in the fact that nothing lasts forever? Yet, impermanence is not only loss, it is also renewal. Because things change, suffering can end. Because moments pass, pain does not stay forever. Because life is impermanent, joy can appear suddenly. Like sunlight breaking through clouds, consider the way nature embodies impermanence. A tree begins as a seed, grows tall over decades, sheds its leaves each autumn, and eventually returns to the earth. In its lifetime, it shelters birds, provides shade, and nourishes soil. Nothing about the tree is fixed, and yet at every stage it is complete. The same is true for you. Your body changes year by year, cell by cell. The person you were 5 years ago exists only in memory. And yet, in this moment, right here, you are whole. Impermanence also softens the weight of time. Think of difficult experiences you have faced. At the moment, they felt overwhelming, as if they would last forever. But gradually, they passed. The sharpness of pain softened, memories blurred at the edges, and new experiences took their place. This is the nature of all things. Emotions, events, even identities rise and fall like waves on the surface of the ocean. Tonight, as you listen, imagine those waves. Some rise high, sparkling in the moonlight. Others crash and dissolve quickly. But the sea beneath the awareness that holds them is vast and steady. Time and impermanence remind us that nothing needs to be clung to. The present moment, fragile as it is, becomes infinitely precious because it will never return in exactly the same way. The laughter of a friend, the warmth of sunlight, the sound of rain each arrives, stays for a while, and moves on. The beauty lies not in trying to keep them, but in noticing them fully while they are here. In this way, impermanence becomes not a source of fear, but a teacher of gratitude. So as you prepare to drift into sleep, allow yourself to float on the river of time. Notice how each breath rises and falls, never to repeat itself. Feel how the body sinks into rest, moment by moment. Nothing is permanent, not even wakefulness. Trust that impermanence will guide you into the quiet darkness of rest, just as surely as morning will one day bring the light again. When we think of time, we often imagine it as something external, a clock on the wall, the hands moving forward whether we notice them or not. But time is also deeply personal. It is experienced in the rhythm of your breath, in the beating of your heart, in the way a day can feel long or short depending on your state of mind. A single hour spent in joy can pass in what feels like minutes, while a difficult hour may feel like it stretches endlessly. This subjective quality of time reminds us that we do not live inside the clock. We live inside perception. As you rest, notice how time slows down. The world outside continues to move forward, but in this quiet space, the seconds feel softer, more spacious. There is no rush, no demand to move faster than your own pace. Time, in this moment, bends gently to allow you rest. Impermanence, too, can be seen not as a loss, but as a rhythm. Every breath you take is a tiny cycle of impermanence. Air enters, fills your lungs, nourishes your body, and then it leaves. If you tried to hold the breath forever, you would suffocate. But by letting it go, you create space for new life. This simple truth mirrors everything around us. Holding on too tightly can cause suffering, while letting go creates freedom. Think about the night sky. The stars you see are ancient. Some of their light has traveled for thousands of years before reaching your eyes. Yet many of those stars may no longer exist. What you see is a memory written in light. Even the heavens above remind us that impermanence is universal. Galaxies form, shine, and eventually fade. Suns are born, burn brightly, and collapse into silence. The entire cosmos dances to the rhythm of change. For human life, impermanence can be both a challenge and a blessing. Childhood passes into adulthood. Friendships evolve, deepen, or fade. Places that once felt eternal change or disappear. But at the same time, impermanence allows us to grow. Without change, we would be frozen in one state forever, never learning, never experiencing new joy. The sweetness of life exists precisely because moments are fleeting. The smile of someone you love becomes more precious when you know it cannot last forever. Philosophers and spiritual teachers have often suggested that embracing impermanence is the path to peace. To cling tightly to what must change only brings pain, but to welcome change as part of life opens the heart to gratitude. Imagine holding a flower in your hand. You know it will not bloom forever. Its petals will one day fall, and its fragrance will fade. But does that make it less beautiful? Or does it make the moment of holding it even more meaningful? Impermanence teaches us to see with fresh eyes, to value the fragile beauty of now. As you listen, allow yourself to recall memories from your own life that once seemed ordinary, but now feel precious. A quiet morning, a shared meal, a moment of laughter. At the time, you may not have noticed how significant they were, but looking back, you realize that impermanence gave them their beauty. Those moments could not last, and yet their passing turned them into treasures in memory. Tonight, you can carry this understanding into your rest. Instead of resisting time or fearing change, you can flow with them. Imagine yourself sitting by a riverbank, watching the water drift by. You do not need to capture the water or stop it. You simply watch it pass, each ripple unique, never repeating. Life is the same. Each moment drifts by, carrying you forward, and your role is simply to notice and to let it flow in this way. Time and impermanence stop being heavy burdens and instead become gentle companions. They remind you that life is always in motion, that nothing stays the same, and that within this motion lies a profound kind of peace. Impermanence is often thought of as something to fear, yet it can also be the very source of comfort. Imagine if nothing ever changed, if every day were identical, if every feeling were fixed, if nothing ever faded. Life would become static, like a painting frozen in time. The beauty of a painting is in its stillness, but the beauty of life is in its motion. Change gives us stories, growth, and the possibility of transformation. Consider the cycles of the seasons. Winter's cold gives way to spring's bloom. Summer's warmth deepens into autumn's golden hues, and then the cycle begins again. Each season has its own character, its own joys, its own challenges. If we tried to hold on to spring forever, we would lose the richness of the other seasons. In the same way, the impermanence of our own lives allows us to experience a full spectrum of emotions and experiences. The ancient Stoic philosophers often advised contemplating the passing of time as a way to live more fully. They called this practice memento mori, a reminder of mortality. This was not meant to be morbid, but liberating. By remembering that life is finite, we can stop wasting energy on what is trivial and instead cherish what matters most. Each day becomes a gift, each moment an opportunity to notice beauty, kindness, or love. In Buddhism, impermanence anicca is considered one of the 3 marks of existence. To see clearly that all things are transient is to let go of clinging and fear. When we resist impermanence, we suffer because we are fighting against the very nature of reality. But when we flow with it, when we see its gentle truth, a deep peace arises. Like waves on the ocean, experiences come and go, but the ocean itself, the awareness within us, remains vast and steady. Think also of your own personal journey. There are versions of yourself you no longer are: the child who once learned to walk, the teenager who dreamed of the future, the adult facing challenges and opportunities. Each version has faded into memory, yet each one still lives inside you as part of your story. You are never only one thing. You are a river of selves, flowing forward, always changing, always becoming. To resist this flow is to suffer, but to embrace it is to find freedom. Impermanence can also soften pain. When you are caught in a difficult moment, it may feel endless, but impermanence assures us it will pass. Just as joy cannot last forever, neither can sorrow. The storms of life eventually give way to calmer skies. Knowing this truth allows us to breathe more easily in times of difficulty, trusting that nothing is permanent, not even suffering. As you rest tonight, you can allow this understanding to soothe you. Close your eyes and imagine the ticking of a clock, each second like a gentle drop of water falling into a pond. The ripples spread out, fade, and disappear. Another drop falls. Another ripple forms. This is time, not something to control or capture, but something to observe, to accept. The ripples of your own life move outward in the same way, touching others, fading, and being replaced by new ones. Now imagine yourself standing on a beach. The waves roll in, rise, and fall back into the sea. No wave is permanent, and yet the ocean is eternal. Your experiences are the waves, constantly changing, never fixed. Your awareness, the part of you listening now, breathing gently, is the ocean. When you rest in that vast awareness, impermanence no longer feels frightening. It feels natural, even comforting. In the end, impermanence is not about loss, but about possibility. It is the reason we can grow, the reason we can heal, the reason new joys can arise even after old ones fade. To live fully is to dance with impermanence, not to fight against it. Tonight, as you drift deeper into sleep, you can carry this wisdom with you. Each breath is a reminder that life is always in motion, always renewing, always flowing. And as the night embraces you, let the truth of impermanence bring you peace. Nothing is permanent, not worries, not troubles, not even wakefulness. Change is always arriving quietly, gently, carrying you toward rest. Allow yourself to trust this flow and drift softly into sleep. Happiness. A word we all know, a feeling we all chase, yet one that often seems to slip through our fingers the moment we think we've grasped it. Tonight, as you prepare to rest, let us gently explore the nature of happiness, not as a goal to reach, but as a landscape to wander through slowly, calmly, and with open eyes. Many of us think of happiness as something out there, something we will have once we achieve, once we acquire, once we succeed. But when we examine this idea more closely, we realize that happiness is not always in the future. It is often already here, quietly present, waiting for us to notice it. The simple comfort of a warm blanket, the quiet rhythm of your breath, the safety of knowing you are lying down to rest, these are small seeds of happiness. They don't need to be earned. They don't need to be compared. They simply exist. Philosophers across history have debated what happiness truly is. Aristotle called it eudaimonia, often translated as flourishing. For him, happiness was not a fleeting emotion, but a life lived in accordance with virtue, where actions aligned with wisdom and kindness. In this view, happiness is less about feeling good all the time and more about living well, growing steadily, and aligning with your deeper values. The Stoics, too, believed happiness was tied to how we responded to life's challenges. They taught that external events, wealth, health, reputation, were not under our full control. Instead, our inner response, our judgment, our mindset determined whether we found peace or despair. For a Stoic, happiness was a kind of inner stability, an anchor that kept the soul steady no matter what storms arose outside. On the other hand, Eastern traditions often describe happiness as the art of presence. In Buddhism, joy arises not from clinging to desires, but from seeing clearly, letting go, and resting in awareness. Instead of striving endlessly for more, peace appears when we realize that in this moment, as it is, we already have enough. Modern psychology echoes these ancient voices. Research shows that people who savor small moments, who practice gratitude, who cultivate connections with others, often report higher levels of happiness than those who focus only on big achievements. This suggests that happiness is not a destination we finally reach, but a practice, a way of noticing the simple things that bring life its sweetness. Tonight, as you listen, you might reflect on your own relationship with happiness. When have you felt it most strongly? Was it during a grand achievement, or was it in a quiet, ordinary moment? Perhaps laughing with a friend, watching the sunset, or hearing a song you love. Often, the moments that glow brightest in memory are not the ones we planned, but the ones that simply unfolded. Happiness, then, might not be something we get at all, but something we learn to recognize. It is less about chasing, more about noticing. It is like a shy bird that lands softly near you when you are still and gentle, but flies away when you chase it too eagerly. So, as you drift into rest, let yourself notice the small, quiet happiness of this very moment. You are safe. You are warm. You are giving yourself the gift of peace. And in that recognition, even now, happiness is already here. When we think about happiness, we often picture it as a destination. We imagine a place in the future where everything will finally align. Perhaps we think, when I have enough money, I'll be happy. When I find the right partner, I'll be. Happy. When I reach this career milestone, I'll be happy. These thoughts can keep us moving forward, but they also create a subtle trap. If happiness is always waiting in the future, then we may spend our whole lives chasing, without ever truly arriving. This endless chase can leave us restless. The moment one desire is satisfied, another takes its place. A new phone feels exciting until it becomes ordinary. A new achievement feels fulfilling until it fades into the past. In this way, happiness always seems one step ahead, just out of reach. But if we pause, if we stop running for a moment, we can discover a profound truth. Happiness is not only in the future. It is also here, hidden in plain sight. Think of the simple joy of breathing deeply, inhaling slowly, exhaling softly. The rhythm itself is calming, grounding, and alive. For centuries, mindfulness practices have emphasized the breath as a gateway to happiness. Why? Because the breath is always here. It does not belong to the past or the future. It is a present anchor, reminding us that in this very second, we are alive. That realization itself can bring a quiet joy. Consider also the happiness of connection. The warmth of sitting with someone you love. The comfort of knowing you are not alone. Studies show that close relationships are among the strongest predictors of long-term happiness. Not wealth, not fame, not possessions, but the simple act of belonging, of sharing moments, of being understood. Even when life is difficult, the presence of another person, a friend, a partner, a family member can bring light into the darkest days. Happiness also lives in gratitude. When we shift our focus from what we lack to what we already have, something softens inside us. Imagine lying in bed tonight, feeling the blanket against your skin, the gentle weight of your body resting, the safety of shelter. These things, which we often overlook, are treasures. Gratitude transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. The glass of water on the bedside table is no longer just water, but a miracle of life, clarity, and refreshment. Gratitude slows us down, reminding us that happiness is often already here. It only needs to be recognized. But happiness is not always bright and loud. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it is found in stillness, in moments of solitude. There is a quiet kind of happiness in watching raindrops slide down a window, or hearing the soft rustle of leaves at night. There is happiness in the rhythm of waves, in the simple act of sipping tea slowly, in the glow of candlelight. These are not dramatic. They do not make headlines, but they nourish the soul in ways that chasing big goals cannot. And yet, it is important to see that happiness does not mean constant pleasure. Life has seasons. There will be moments of sadness, loss, and hardship. To demand constant happiness is to fight against the truth of impermanence. Instead, what we can cultivate is a steady undercurrent of contentment, a trust that even in difficulty, moments of light will return. Just as night always gives way to morning, sadness always carries the possibility of joy's return. The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard once wrote that life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. Often, when we look back, we realize that the times we thought were difficult were also filled with hidden blessings. A challenge may have forced us to grow. A disappointment may have opened the door to something unexpected. Even in hardship, happiness can sometimes be found in retrospect. Like stars that become visible only after the sky grows dark. So perhaps happiness is not a single thing, but a tapestry woven from many threads. Gratitude, connection, presence, meaning, and growth. It is not about eliminating all discomfort, but about balancing the difficult with the gentle, the heavy with the light. Tonight, as you drift deeper into relaxation, imagine yourself wrapping this tapestry around your shoulders. Feel the weight of gratitude woven into one corner, the warmth of connection in another, the softness of presence and mindfulness throughout. Let this tapestry remind you that happiness is not something far away. It is already within you, waiting to be noticed, like a quiet friend sitting beside you in the silence of night. As you continue to breathe slowly, allow yourself to notice the subtle pleasures of this moment. Perhaps it is the gentle support of the bed beneath you, the soft sound of your own breath, the faint warmth of the air on your skin. These details, small and often overlooked, are reminders that happiness is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it is quiet, unassuming, yet profoundly satisfying. Happiness also grows when we release comparison. In a world full of images, expectations, and social pressures, it is easy to measure ourselves against others, to feel that we are lacking. But true contentment arises when we stop looking outward for validation and start noticing what is within. Each person's path is unique. The fact that someone else experiences life differently does not diminish your own potential for happiness. By appreciating your own journey, you open the door to genuine joy. Another element of happiness is meaning. Humans thrive when their actions align with purpose, no matter how small. Acts of kindness, moments of creativity, and even simple responsibilities carry significance when we recognize them as part of a larger whole. Helping someone in need, sharing a kind word, or offering a smile are all ripples that extend beyond the immediate moment. In this way, meaning and happiness are deeply intertwined. Even challenges, when viewed through a mindful lens, can contribute to a sense of happiness. Difficulties teach resilience, patience, and understanding. Just as muscles grow stronger through resistance, the heart deepens through experience. Happiness does not require a life free of struggle. It grows alongside it, in balance, like a tree bending but not breaking in the wind. Tonight, as you prepare to drift fully into sleep, picture happiness as a flowing river. Sometimes the water is still and calm, reflecting the stars above. Sometimes it rushes over rocks, creating sparkling foam. The river does not judge its own flow. It simply moves, embracing its course. In the same way, your happiness does not need to be constant or uniform. It flows through moments of peace, moments of laughter, moments of quiet, and even through moments of challenge. Allow yourself to float in this river. With each exhale, release tension and expectation. With each inhale, invite calm and presence. Feel the gentle support of life beneath you and the soft expansiveness around you. The body, the mind, and the heart are all cradled in this current. Happiness, like the river, is not forced. It is allowed. It is noticed. It is appreciated. As your consciousness drifts further into rest, remember that happiness is not something to be chased or achieved. It is already here, interwoven with the rhythm of your breath, the pulse of your heart, and the gentle silence of the night. By simply noticing it, you become part of its flow. You are present. You are alive. And in that presence, you are already happy. So now, let your thoughts soften. Let your awareness sink into the quiet comfort of being. Know that this gentle river of happiness flows through you, carrying you into deeper rest. And, as sleep embraces you, let it remind you that the simplest joys are often the truest, and they are always here, waiting for you to notice. Choice. It is something we celebrate as freedom, yet it can also feel like a heavy burden. From the moment we wake up, we are faced with countless decisions, some trivial, some profound. What to eat for breakfast, what route to take to work, which friend to call, which book to read, which thoughts to dwell upon. Even in moments of rest, our minds are full of options, possibilities, and what-ifs. Tonight, as you prepare to rest, we will explore how choice shapes our lives, our happiness, and even the very way we experience reality. The paradox of choice. A concept explored by psychologists and philosophers alike suggests that while choice is often seen as a source of empowerment, too much choice can lead to anxiety, indecision, and dissatisfaction. Imagine walking into a store with thousands of varieties of the same item. The abundance is dazzling, yet overwhelming. Each decision carries a hidden weight. Will this choice be the best? What if I choose wrong? What if a better option exists just out of sight? The abundance that promises freedom can sometimes create a quiet tension, an invisible pressure that rests on the mind. Even in small, daily choices, the paradox emerges. Choosing what to eat, what to wear, what path to follow seems straightforward. But even these seemingly minor decisions can accumulate into a subtle mental burden. Our minds replay the options, comparing possibilities, imagining alternative outcomes. This constant evaluation drains energy and reduces satisfaction. Paradoxically, more options do not necessarily mean more happiness. In fact, studies suggest that when we have fewer choices, we often feel more content, more decisive, and more at peace. As you lie down tonight, imagine your mind as a wide, open landscape. Choices are like paths branching in every direction. Some are clear, some obscure. The very act of thinking about all these paths can tire the mind. Like wandering endlessly in a forest without ever finding a clearing. The paradox of choice teaches us to notice this mental exhaustion and to practice gentleness with ourselves. Not every path must be explored. Not every decision must be perfect. Sometimes the simplest choice is the one that brings the most peace. Philosophers have long debated the nature of free will and the limits of choice. Existentialists remind us that our freedom is both empowering and daunting. We are free to create meaning in our lives, yet with that freedom comes responsibility. The more options we perceive, the more weight we feel, because each choice carries potential consequences. Even the decision to rest, to allow the mind to drift into sleep, is a choice, and it carries its own subtle tension. Am I resting enough? Could I be using this time better? Yet there is also a deeper lesson hidden in the paradox. Choice, when approached mindfully, becomes a source of self-awareness and calm. It is not the quantity of choices that matters, but the way we relate to them. When we release the need to control every outcome, we discover a freedom that transcends the pressure of decision. The mind can settle, knowing that some options are not ours to perfect, and that imperfection is part of life's rhythm. Tonight, as you drift toward sleep, let yourself notice the choices you make simply to breathe, to rest, to lie still. Let go of imagined possibilities that do not serve you right now. The paradox of choice is not a trap. It is a gentle reminder of your own humanity. Your mind can rest, even as the world remains full of paths, directions, and possibilities. Imagine each choice as a feather floating gently in the air. You do not need to catch every feather, weigh it, or arrange it. Simply notice it and allow it to drift away. The mind, like a calm pond, reflects the gentle flow of possibility without being swept away by it. In this space, choices lose their pressure. They become natural, effortless, and peaceful. And so tonight, as you sink into deeper rest, carry with you the awareness that freedom is not about selecting every possible path. Freedom is in letting go, in noticing without clinging, and in allowing your mind to drift gently like a leaf on a calm stream. The paradox of choice can transform from burden to blessing, guiding you toward rest, clarity, and quiet joy. As we continue to explore the paradox of choice, it is important to consider the emotional weight that comes with comparing ourselves to others. In a world overflowing with possibilities, we constantly see the decisions and achievements of those around us. Social media amplifies this effect, creating a quiet pressure. Are my choices as good as theirs? Am I missing out? These comparisons can intensify the feeling of being trapped in endless options. And they can quietly disturb the mind, especially when it is preparing for rest. Yet even here, there is a path to relief. Recognizing that each individual's journey is unique, we begin to release the burden of comparison. Just as the branches of a tree grow in different directions, yet all reach toward the light. Every person's choices unfold differently. Your choices, your path, do not need to mirror anyone else's. By valuing your own direction, you cultivate a sense of peace. Noticing the beauty in the life you are living right now, another layer of understanding comes from embracing imperfection. No decision is flawless. Every choice carries consequences, and every path has unknowns. Accepting this reality allows us to move forward without fear. Imperfection is not a failure. It is a natural part of existence. By releasing the need for perfect outcomes, the mind finds relief. Even small actions, taken with awareness and intention, contribute to a life of quiet satisfaction. Consider also the practice of simplifying decisions. Before sleep, you might create gentle routines that reduce mental clutter. Simple bedtime rituals, arranging your space, turning off distractions, setting intentions for tomorrow, allow the mind to relax. By removing trivial choices from the moment, you free mental energy, creating space for rest. The act of simplifying is a form of self-care, reinforcing that not every choice requires deep contemplation or worry. Philosophers and psychologists alike suggest that our perception of choice is deeply linked to our sense of freedom. True freedom does not come from having unlimited options, but from knowing which choices align with our values and which do not. By understanding our priorities and focusing on what truly matters, we can navigate life's multitude of possibilities. With calm confidence, the mind learns that it is not necessary to evaluate every single option. Instead, we select what resonates and let the rest fade into the background as you lie quietly. Imagine your mind as a serene field. Each choice is a gentle breeze passing through. You do not need to chase every gust, nor do you need to capture it. Simply feel the movement, acknowledge it, and let it pass. This awareness allows the mind to settle, creating a fertile space for rest, for clarity, and for gentle reflection. Even the awareness of this paradox can be soothing. Understanding that choice is both empowering and challenging, and that the tension it creates is natural, allows you to approach life with balance. The burden of decisions softens, replaced by a gentle rhythm of observation and acceptance. This rhythm guides the mind toward peace. Tonight, as you drift toward deeper sleep, let yourself release imagined worries about what to choose or how to act. Trust that clarity and contentment will emerge when the time is right. The paradox of choice, once a source of tension, now becomes a gentle guide, leading you into calmness, presence, and restful awareness. In the quiet of the night, your mind can finally rest, free from the weight of endless options, floating gently toward the peace that awaits. Time, it moves relentlessly, invisibly, yet its presence is felt in every heartbeat, every breath, every shift of light and shadow. Tonight, as you prepare to rest, let us wander together through the mysterious flow of time, not as a force to be fought or chased, but as a gentle river in which we can float. Many of us experience time as a pressure, a constant reminder that life is finite. Deadlines, responsibilities, obligations, they create a sense of urgency that can cloud our peace. Yet there is another way to perceive time, as a rhythm, a pattern, a continuous unfolding that does not need to be controlled, only noticed. The flow of time is a gift, offering moments to rest, to reflect, and to grow. Philosophers have long reflected on the nature of time. Augustine, one of history's great thinkers, pondered how the present seems fleeting, the past is remembered, and the future remains unknown. What then is time? He asked. If no one asks me, I know. If I wish to explain it to one that asks, I know not. Time is at once familiar and enigmatic, intimate and beyond our grasp. This mystery invites contemplation, a gentle curiosity that can soothe the mind before sleep. Our perception of time also shapes our emotions. When we are fully immersed in an activity, moments can feel expanded, stretched into a slow, vivid presence. Conversely, when we are anxious or distracted, time can race, slipping through our fingers like sand. Mindfulness and awareness of the present can slow the perception of time, allowing each moment to become richer, fuller, and more deeply appreciated. Consider the cycles of nature, the rising and setting sun, the phases of the moon, the changing seasons. These natural rhythms remind us that time flows independently of our concerns, yet it also cradles life. Each moment, however ordinary, is part of a vast continuum, connecting past, present, and future. By aligning with these rhythms, we cultivate a sense of belonging and calm, understanding that our lives are part of a larger temporal tapestry. Even memory interacts with time in fascinating ways. When we recall the past, we reconstruct it, often noticing different details or feelings than we experienced originally. Our minds stretch and compress time, sometimes making years feel like moments or minutes feel eternal. Sleep itself, when approached gently, becomes a bridge across temporal awareness, a nightly pause where the mind integrates experiences, restores energy, and prepares to meet the unfolding flow of tomorrow. Tonight, as you drift into rest, let your awareness settle into the natural rhythm of your own life. Feel the heartbeat as a quiet metronome, the rise and fall of your breath as a gentle tide, and the soft unfolding of moments as a continuous, flowing river. Time does not rush you, does not demand perfection. It simply moves, and in its movement, it carries you effortlessly toward rest, renewal, and presence. As we lie here in the quiet of night, the mind may drift to thoughts of past regrets or future uncertainties. Yet the flow of time invites a gentler perspective. Instead of focusing on what is past or what is to come, we can anchor ourselves in the present. The present is the only moment we truly inhabit, the only moment where life can be experienced fully. It is here, in the gentle now, that we can find a deep sense of peace. The perception of time is also influenced by our attention. When we rush through life, distracted by screens, notifications, and endless tasks, time seems to accelerate. Moments blend into one another, and we miss the subtleties of living. But when we slow down, when we pay attention to simple acts, the warmth of a blanket, the quiet of the night, the rhythm of our breathing time seems to expand. Each second becomes richer, and life feels more vivid, more textured, more meaningful. Even in rest, the flow of time continues its subtle work. Sleep is not merely an absence of activity. It is a vital process in which memories are organized, emotions are balanced, and the body and mind are restored. By surrendering to the natural rhythms of night, we allow time to do its quiet, essential work. There is no need to fight it. There is no need to resist. Time moves, and we move with it, gently, effortlessly, and harmoniously. Philosophers and scientists alike have explored the elastic nature of time. Einstein's theory of relativity revealed that time is not fixed, that it stretches and contracts depending on speed and gravity. Even though we may not feel these effects in daily life, the underlying truth is profound. Time is not rigid. It flows and bends in ways beyond our immediate perception, reminding us that our experience of it is subjective, malleable, and deeply intertwined with consciousness itself. When we reflect on this, we can see that the worries that often keep us awake are also flexible. Our anxieties, our what-ifs, and our regrets are part of our temporal perception, not immutable truths. By observing them with detachment, we can allow them to drift by, like leaves carried on a slow-moving stream. This awareness transforms the mind into a calm, reflective space, preparing us for restful sleep. Consider also the cycles within your own life: moments of learning, moments of rest, moments of connection, and moments of solitude. Each cycle is a microcosm of time's flow, each day a thread in a larger tapestry. By noticing these cycles, we gain perspective, understanding that time carries both challenges and joys, that each moment contributes to the richness of our experience, and that the flow itself is a kind companion guiding us forward. Tonight, as you lie in your bed, imagine time as a gentle river flowing steadily and silently around you. You are not rushed, not dragged, not pushed. You float in harmony with its current, letting go of resistance, surrendering to its natural rhythm. Each breath is a step along the river, each heartbeat a quiet drum marking the passage of moments. Here in this awareness, time is not your enemy. It is your companion, carrying you into the gentle embrace of rest, restoration, and renewal. As we drift further into this exploration, consider the paradoxical nature of time. It can feel both fleeting and eternal. Moments pass with astonishing swiftness, yet the memory of certain experiences lingers for a lifetime. Childhood summers, quiet walks, whispered conversations, and solitary reflections all expand within our minds, creating an internal landscape where past and present coexist. This interplay between fleeting and lasting allows us to appreciate the preciousness of now without being trapped in it. Time is also a teacher. Every experience, every encounter, every pause and movement offers lessons if we are attentive. Loss and joy, struggle and success, calm and turbulence, all are threads in the temporal fabric of life. By observing these threads, we gain understanding, patience, and wisdom. The flow of time reminds us that even difficulties are transient, that pain can soften, and that moments of calm and joy will always return. In this awareness, we find a quiet reassurance that all is part of a greater rhythm. Sleep, as part of this temporal flow, is an essential sanctuary. It allows the mind to integrate experiences, the body to regenerate, and the spirit to rest. By surrendering to the night, we honor the natural rhythm of life. We do not rush, we do not resist. We allow the current of time to carry us into rejuvenation. This surrender is not passivity, but a gentle engagement with the universe's pace. Each exhale releases tension. Each inhale invites calm. The present moment becomes a soft cradle, rocking you into deeper rest. Even the future, often a source of worry, can be softened by understanding time's flow. Instead of feeling the need to control outcomes, we can trust in the natural unfolding of events. The river of life moves steadily, carrying experiences and lessons alike. By aligning with this flow, we cultivate patience, acceptance, and serenity. The mind, once restless with anticipation or fear, finds release in the acknowledgement that time will continue, that life will continue, and that we are safely carried along its course. Tonight, as your awareness settles into the quiet of your body, imagine the gentle movement of time as a soft current beneath you. Feel each breath, each heartbeat, each subtle shift as part of this ongoing flow. You are not separate from time. You are part of it. Time embraces you as it moves, supporting you, guiding you, and carrying you into a state of calm and rest. Let your thoughts drift like leaves on this stream. Past worries, future concerns, and lingering decisions float gently away, leaving only presence and awareness. The flow of time is neither enemy nor master. It is companion, guide, and constant. Friend, as sleep draws near, feel its rhythm weaving through you, creating harmony within, and carrying you effortlessly into the quiet sanctuary of the night. In this gentle surrender, you discover the essence of time. It is not something to fight, control, or worry about. It is a flowing presence, and in embracing it, you find peace, rest, and the quiet joy of simply being. Control. It is something we instinctively crave. From the smallest choices, what to eat, what to wear, Which path to take to the largest ambitions? Career, relationships. Life direction, we spend countless hours shaping our lives, as though we are the ultimate architects of reality. Yet, as we lie down tonight, preparing to drift into sleep, let us explore the gentle paradox. The control we perceive is often an illusion. The illusion of control can be subtle, almost invisible. In daily life, we plan, strategize, and organize, believing that our careful decisions will determine outcomes. We build routines, set goals, and imagine the ideal version of our lives. Yet, the universe, in all its complexity, often operates outside our grasp. Small events, chance encounters, and unforeseen circumstances can alter our plans in ways we never anticipated. This is not a failure of our efforts, but a natural aspect of existence, a reminder that life is a dynamic interplay between our choices and the forces beyond us. Psychologists note that the illusion of control can be both empowering and burdensome. Believing we have control can motivate action, provide a sense of security, and help us navigate challenges. But when events unfold contrary to expectations, the same illusion can produce stress, anxiety, and frustration. We struggle with the tension between what we wish to manage and what we cannot. Recognizing this tension allows the mind to relax, creating a space for acceptance rather than resistance. Consider also the mind's tendency to overestimate control in subtle ways. We may believe we can influence outcomes through sheer will, luck, or repetition, even in situations dominated by chance. Gamblers, for instance, often perceive patterns in random events, feeling responsible for outcomes they cannot affect. Similarly, in life's daily affairs, we may shoulder burdens that do not belong to us, taking responsibility for results shaped by countless variables beyond our awareness. Awareness of this tendency allows the mind to release unnecessary tension and embrace the natural ebb and flow of circumstances. Sleep itself is a perfect illustration of control's illusion. We may attempt to dictate when and how rest arrives, yet the mind and body follow their own rhythms. Anxiety about falling asleep, overthinking, or worrying about tomorrow can paradoxically delay rest. The gentle lesson is that surrender often produces more than forceful effort. By allowing the body to follow its natural cycles, by relaxing into the moment rather than struggling against it, we achieve a form of mastery through letting go, a quiet, paradoxical control. Life in its complexity is full of unpredictable currents, relationships, health, work, and personal growth all involve variables beyond our comprehension. Even our internal states, emotions, thoughts, and perceptions can shift unpredictably, reminding us that control is never absolute. Yet there is freedom in acknowledging this truth. By understanding that we cannot manage every detail, we can release the mental burden of constant vigilance, cultivating serenity, mindfulness, and trust in the natural unfolding of life. The illusion of control also touches upon time, a force we have already explored. We may attempt to schedule every moment, structure every plan, and forecast outcomes with precision. Yet time often surprises us. Deadlines slip, opportunities arise unexpectedly, and life moves in rhythms we cannot predict. By embracing these rhythms rather than resisting them, the mind finds a deep, restorative calm. The present moment, not the imagined future, becomes the space in which we find both rest and clarity. Tonight, as you lie quietly in your bed, imagine releasing the grip of control. Feel the tension that comes with striving, predicting, and managing slowly dissolve. Visualize each worry, each attempt to micromanage life's details as a gentle leaf floating down a stream. You do not need to catch it, arrange it, or weigh it. You simply observe it, allowing it to drift. The mind, once tense, begins to soften. The body, once alert, begins to release into the rhythm of night. Control, as a concept, is transformed. It is no longer a rigid demand, a source of anxiety, or an unattainable ideal. Instead, it becomes a gentle awareness of influence, choice, and surrender. You may shape aspects of your life, yes, but the greater currents of existence flow beyond your grasp. By recognizing this, the mind finds freedom, the heart finds ease, and the body finds rest, as your breathing slows and your awareness deepens. Notice the paradox. By letting go of the illusion of control, you discover a deeper form of harmony. Surrendering does not mean inaction. It means choosing wisely where to invest energy and where to allow natural forces to guide the way. Even as the world continues its unpredictable dance, you float gently, resting in the quiet certainty of now, embraced by the present and carried toward peaceful slumber. As we continue to explore the illusion of control, it becomes clear that much of human anxiety arises from our desire to predict and influence outcomes. We create plans, set expectations, and imagine future scenarios, believing that through effort and foresight, we can shape reality to match our desires. Yet life rarely unfolds exactly as expected. Small, random events ripple outward, subtly or dramatically altering the trajectory of our days. This unpredictability is not a flaw in the universe, but a fundamental characteristic of existence. A reminder that life is a dynamic dance between intention and ease. And one of the most profound lessons about control is that it is largely internal. While external circumstances may remain uncertain, we always have the ability to influence our perception, our reactions, and our awareness. This internal locus of control is quiet, subtle, and empowering. It is the recognition that even if we cannot determine every event, we can choose how we experience it. We can cultivate calm in the face of unpredictability, grace in the face of disappointment, and patience in the face of delay. In doing so, we reclaim a form of control that is sustainable, gentle, and deeply restorative. Consider also the emotional landscape of surrender. Letting go of rigid expectations allows for flexibility and creativity. When we release the need to control every variable, our minds open to new possibilities, new solutions, and unexpected joys. Sleep is a perfect example of this process. By releasing the urge to micromanage rest, by letting the body and mind settle naturally, we create an environment where rejuvenation can occur effortlessly. The paradox is clear. True mastery often comes not from forceful effort, but from mindful release. Furthermore, the illusion of control shapes our relationships. We often attempt to manage the behavior of others, believing that we can guide outcomes through persuasion or expectation. Yet people, like time, follow their own rhythms. Attempting to dominate or predict their actions often creates tension, frustration, and conflict. By recognizing the limits of influence, we can approach connections with empathy, respect, and openness. Relationships flourish, not under pressure, but through acceptance, patience, and mutual understanding. This awareness eases the mind, reducing tension before sleep. Even the smallest daily decisions reflect this dynamic. From choosing a route to work to deciding what to eat, the desire to control outcomes can amplify stress. Yet by noticing the natural flow of events and releasing attachment to specific results, we cultivate ease. The act of observation replaces the act of striving. We notice patterns, we respond wisely, and we rest without the weight of imagined responsibility. The illusion of control is also intimately linked with time perception. We may try to accelerate or slow moments through planning, expectation, or anticipation. Yet time flows on, indifferent to our efforts. By releasing this desire for dominance over moments, we align with natural rhythms. Sleep becomes deeper. Rest becomes more restorative, and awareness sharpens without strain. The mind learns that surrender is not weakness, but a form of alignment with reality. Tonight, as your breathing deepens and your body relaxes, Let yourself release the grip on control. Visualize it as a river flowing past you. You do not need to steer it, nor do you need to grasp it. Simply observe, simply float. Each thought that seeks to command, direct, or manage drifts by like a leaf on the water. The mind softens, the body relaxes, and a profound calm settles in. In this gentle surrender, you discover the paradox. The less you cling, the more peace you experience. The less you demand, the more you flow. The illusion of control dissolves, leaving awareness, presence, and tranquility. You are safe in this release, carried effortlessly toward sleep. Enveloped in the serene certainty that life, in all its unpredictability, unfolds exactly as it should. As we enter the final reflection on the illusion of control, let us embrace the gentle understanding that life is a balance between intention and surrender. Every day, we navigate a complex interplay of choices, circumstances, and unforeseen events. While some aspects are within our grasp, many are shaped by forces beyond our awareness. Recognizing this allows the mind to release tension and find serenity, especially as we prepare for sleep. One of the most profound aspects of this realization is the freedom it brings. When we accept that we cannot control every outcome, we are liberated from the constant mental strain of trying to force life to conform to our expectations. This liberation is not passive resignation. It is an active engagement with reality. We choose where to focus our energy, where to act with intention, and where to surrender to the natural flow of events. In this space, the mind experiences calm, clarity, and an ease that nurtures deep rest. Consider the cycles of nature as a mirror to this principle. Seasons change, rivers flow, stars move in their orbits, and yet life continues without our intervention. These natural rhythms remind us that control is partial, and yet life is harmonious. By observing these patterns, we learn to align ourselves with the larger currents of existence. Sleep becomes part of this alignment, a surrender to the natural rhythms of the body and the universe. Each breath, each heartbeat, each subtle shift is part of a gentle flow that carries us toward renewal. Even our thoughts follow this rhythm. Throughout the day, the mind may generate concerns, anxieties, and plans. At night, these thoughts can create restlessness, especially when we attempt to control them. Instead, imagine allowing each thought to pass naturally, like clouds drifting across a wide sky. You observe them without attachment, without judgment, and without the need to intervene. This practice cultivates mental space, softening tension, and preparing the mind for restorative sleep. The illusion of control also touches upon our emotional life. We often attempt to manage feelings, seeking certainty and stability in a world that is inherently dynamic. Yet emotions ebb and flow, influenced by external events, internal reflections, and unconscious processes. By observing rather than resisting, we create a space of acceptance where emotions move naturally. This awareness reduces anxiety and nurtures inner peace, making it easier to surrender to sleep with calmness and trust. Even in relationships, letting go of rigid control fosters harmony. We cannot dictate the actions or feelings of others, yet we can choose how we respond. Compassion, patience, and understanding become our instruments of influence, while the desire to dominate or predict diminishes. In this gentle balance, the mind feels lighter, the heart feels freer, and sleep arrives more readily. As you rest in bed, allow yourself to visualize life as a vast, flowing river. You are not responsible for controlling every current. You do not need to anticipate every turn. You simply float, guided by the gentle rhythm of the flow. Each exhale releases tension. Each inhale invites calm. Time and circumstance move around you, carrying experiences and lessons alike. And you are safely cradled within this natural order. Tonight, Remember that true mastery is not rigid control, but skillful surrender. By choosing when to act and when to release, you align with the inherent harmony of existence. The illusion of control dissolves, leaving awareness, presence, and tranquility. You are not overwhelmed by unpredictability. You are at peace with it. As sleep deepens, allow this understanding to settle in every fiber of your being. The mind softens, the body relaxes, and the spirit rests. Life continues its dance, unpredictable yet harmonious, and you are gently carried along its current. In this release, you discover profound serenity, and the illusion of control becomes a gentle guide rather than a source of tension. Drift now into rest, cradled by the flowing river of life, enveloped in calm, embraced by presence, and carried into the quiet sanctuary of the night. Sleep is not something to force. It is something to surrender to. And in surrendering, you find the deepest, most nourishing peace